Hello, everybody. Good evening. Dr. Rao here. Welcome. Welcome to all. I was talking in a room about mental healthness today, and we were talking about how the mental health is worsening to people, especially in the United States. There's a lot of mental health problems that we were really uh, worried about. So we were talking about the incidents and all that. And some of the people are kind of surprisingly said, um, maybe we don't know the effect of the social media, internet, and all this technology on the kids yet. I kind of take objection to that because I see the reports that mental health is increasing in numbers and increasing in loneliness, increasing in suicidal rates, and really concerned about relationships that kids are forming with each other, that kind of thing, right? So I was looking at the statistic again, and the fresh count is among 22.8% of US adults, that means approximately like a 57.8 million people. See, of these, 5.5% experience serious mental illness, which is around 14.1 million adults. Additionally, 7.6% of adults face the co-occurring substance use disorder and mental illness. Both substance use disorder and mental illness, right? Representing 19.4 million individuals. That's one NAMI. That's like a National Alliance on Mental Illness report. Okay, at the CDC, and so they are really increasing. Youth, especially 16.5% of the US youth, age 16 to 17, experience a mental health disorder in a given year, totaling approximately 7.7 million young people. Again, NAMI. So treatment is 47.2% in 2021, and 50.6% of the 6 to 7 age group received mental treatment. So, whichever way you look at it, is like kind of happening all the time. So, I was very perturbed by the numbers again, because it's not news to us, because we see it in the practice all the time, right? All the time, people are really reporting for depression, anxiety, not exclusive for that, but majority of the people have anxiety about things that may not be important in their life, but still they feel anxious about going into the crowds, getting up in the markets, whatever, right? So some women, they can't get out of the house. I have been treating some people like that. So we see the suicide rate also increasing because of the local schools have a very high suicide rate. And there was also a report on the young women who were really um, from 2014 to 2018, there is a study on young girls and teenage girls in the United States. They all had a very high increase in suicide rate in the United States as a whole. They reported 189% increase in suicide rate among that group after the smartphone has come onto the market and people started to use it, especially Instagram. I think the girls are provoked to encourage to commit suicide. That was their findings in that study. So I know that from the reports of the officials also, Vivek, for example, he's the Surgeon General, right? He brought in this the loneliness in America has really grown. That was his thing. He talked about that quite often, right? So a lot of people are complaining about the uh, mm, worsening loneliness, the depth of it leading to suicide sometimes. So he was very worried about it. He said it is more like an epidemic, and he was blaming the social media because they don't have any control. They are doing whatever they want. And somehow things they are doing are really harmful for the kids, and then they really are only hoping only for the buck, not really protecting anybody. So his specific statement was, it was like back when cars were there, but the cars were you can travel without wearing the seat belt and all that, right? That kind of thing. So he talked about that quite often. So I don't see that kind of thinking where social media and internet, all these things are not making any effect on the kids' mental health. I see more numbers all the time, right? So that's why I thought I will come and discuss a little bit about it, and then be really make it clear to people who are not aware that this is increasing. It is increasing. Okay, so we have to really understand why the societal change is like that, and why people are not paying attention to that. Okay, first of all, the internet, with so many distractions given to us, it kind of downs our attention span. It is going down, especially for the kids. It's going down quite a lot. Okay, so that's why I kind of want to emphasize on this. So I just started this new vibe. Probably I may have to repeat the whole thing again a little bit, because many people are really interested in this topic on that app. I know that. Um, Now, when I look at the incidence of mental illness as it has really become um, worse and worse as the decades went by, I'm quite really worried about it, right? Say, hello, Nach, how are you? So it's a question of being aware of it, and also being aware of what are the natural things that we could do that would help us to live better, not be so much of anxiety. Hi, Nach, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. So I was talking about this mental illness statistics that I saw that were very high anyway. So uh, I just started the talk, but then I started saying I was at a room where they asked me to come and contribute to the mental health they were talking about. There was a psychiatrist, and then there were other doctors too. But one of the doctors said, maybe all this internet everything will be we don't know the effect on the kids yet. Then I thought, where are you living? Because a lot of kids are affected by this social media, and then we are increasing the rates of depression, anxiety, and suicidal rates, and loneliness. So I was reading these numbers earlier. If you take the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, NAMI, they gave the numbers of, if you take 22.8% of US adult, they experienced mental illness in 2021. No, that's like a 57.8 million people. Of these, 5.5% they experience serious mental illness, which is about 14.7 million. And then 76% of adults, they faced a substance use disorder also. Youth, about 16.5% of US population, around 6 to 17 age group, that amounts to 7.7 million young people. So I can go on, any numbers are like that. But I thought it is commonsensical, and everybody is aware that this kind of mental illness increase is not healthy for us. And on top of it, we don't have the psychiatrist to treat these people, psychologists, psychiatrists, and mental health facilities. So it's getting worse out there, the quality of life for these people. A lot of them slip into substance use disorders, and that way they become more sick, and then they come and they get admitted to the ICU in coma sometimes. And enormous resources are taken over too, but we have to save them, right? So we do spend and we do the stuff what we need to do. But then, if you look at the social thing, they send them to therapy, but they don't seem to work with them, and they seem to work on the patients also. So it's a very sad situation, breakdown of in human being from inside out. So I always
So what you said is commonly happening on state.
what?
What you said is this mental illness is common on state.
Yeah, yeah, very common. A lot of problems in here. I see them.
Now, do you know how I also got some issues like before, I can say like 5 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and I met the one girl, okay?
Hmm.
And after that, I started liking it. And I also got this mental
Hmm.
anxiety.
Yeah.
Then what happened? What I did is I started watching the YouTube,
Hmm.
and I went to the Buddha forest,
Hmm.
and I start doing the meditation, and I start watching the nature.
Hmm.
But still, that her name is not going on my mind. She's still on my mind.
Hmm.
Uh, but I'm still managing. Okay.
Hmm.
But the reason is I was still right that hear these things because I know that the person who is having the anxiety, depression, so that's a very hard feeling actually.
Yeah, those are two good things, being close to the nature and trying to clear your mind, meditate. I think those are two simple things anybody can do. Actually, I want people to have the forest bathing and go to the nature and make a nature walks, nature observance a part of your daily routine. That way you can shut off the thinking for a while and then really improve. Obviously, sitting down and deliberately calming the mind down, and also whatever comes, really dealing with it, that's a very healthy way. You know, so I do encourage people to do that on a daily basis. There is so much information coming into our minds. If we don't do anything, they're going to affect us. There's a digital toxicity that goes on, and I talk about detoxing that you know and you can do several ways. You can just take a vacation, or you can just go to the nature, and you can really sit down and calm yourself and do physical activity. All these things are there, but people have to do them, so and then they have to get the encouragement from their physicians also. That's why the proactive wellness we were talking about in the mornings these days, we highlight how you can be proactive about these things from the beginning, so that you can nip them in the bud when they are small. That's where I think people are having some difficulty finding people to talk to, because we don't have enough psychiatrists, we don't have enough psychologists. It is getting tougher and tougher. There is so much happening on the telehealth though, and there is so much happening on the artificial intelligence. Itself has some apps, and that people can use them, and then they can do the meditation along with that. That's a good development. Probably it's not as original as somebody meditating on their own, which I prefer, which I would like people to encourage to do that. But in case they don't have anybody access, nobody is there for them to do, they have the apps that they could use. By the way, I have my own app release too, because it's going to be complete after iOS is released, Android will be released in a few days. Then everything will be complete. So that app also will have some simple meditation, simple calming down, and also listening to something like what's happening out there in the nature, things like that. So see, people don't smell things.
What I did is I started watching the meditations on the YouTube,
Yeah.
and finally, what I did is I changed my habits. My daily plan is to wake up at 4 o'clock and
Mm.
do the jogging, do the meditation, and kind of things I did for myself.
Okay, good,
But
good, good
still,
job.
but still that I can't ignore her name.
Mm.
So that is the matter.
Mm.
But I didn't disturb to her also. It's not my style also to disturb into the evening. But I'm still holding my feet by my own self.
Okay, good, good. Yeah, people can have these self-help apps that can guide you. Watch out the legitimacy and the real thing or not. At one time it used to be you have to find for gurus to teach you meditation, but nowadays there's so many people are there, so many apps are there. YouTube also has them, and so you can select them and you can use them, or you can find a teacher that can teach you all that. But the thing is, the mental health illness is not just only the mind calming and all that. There's so much of social division, social unrest, and then so this technology dominating us is also a big problem. So try to limit technology use as much as possible, screen time, and also especially before you go to bed. Shut them down for half an hour and then go to sleep. And after you get up, don't get to the apps right away. Delay half an hour, and that's a good thing. Actually, there's a lot of science in that. If you start thinking only from the beginning in the morning, then you start to think rapidly, or and then you're thinking about the work, what you need to do, what you need to call, and all that. Put it aside for a while, so that the neural system can recover and also gets into the present mode. What I recommend to everybody is be in the present mode most of the day. That means whatever you are doing, either you're eating lunch or talking to a friend on the phone or talking to your colleagues and boss, whatever, and then whatever job you are doing, whatever tasks you are doing, everything, pay attention completely. And you go take a break and you want to watch the TV for 10 minutes, watch it completely immersed. So that kind of paying attention to everything that is missing, because there are so many distractions thrown at us, right? If you are working 1 hour, then they will come and they will do so many things come your way asking for your attention. They may be free, but then they want your attention. That's the premium, right? So watch out for that. And then there is a way to control email. There is a way to limit the notifications. There is a way to plan your activity and stick with it, and also break it when you can, and then go out and take. For example, in the hospital, we were working in this big hospital, and around the hospital they put a track so that our people will come there. So me and my other physician, we used to take a 10-minute break and go and walk around the track, and then come back to that was refreshing for us. So otherwise, all this computer data, all this nursing data. But if they need us anything like an emergency, we're only 1 minute away because it's the hospital route. So that kind of things we should create in the World Hospital. What we did was, it is a big hospital, and then it has a lot of corridors. So we kind of measure the corridors and put a signpost like if you walk up to this, half a mile, then it is 1 mile, then 1.5 mile, like that. Like that, we made 2 mile track, like, and then they walk 5 times. That's like 10 miles. And then we used to give them a reward that report was a ticket for the massage. So they walked and then they got the massage and they were very happy and then they went home. So we kind of encouraged. We had a wellness club formed in the hospital and we invited several volunteers, the nurses. They came and volunteered to help with the nutrition tips, help with the wellness tips, how to exercise, how to sleep, how to relieve stress and all. And at the time, we used to call compassion fatigue. The nurses used to go through compassion, but that means if they admit a patient and they see the patient dying, they really take it to the heart and take it home, you know. So, and then sooner or later they get exhausted. That's what we call compassion fatigue, and they're stressed out basically. These days we call them burnout, and that is I see quite often a lot of people, right? So when you're burning out because of the information overload or overwork or really demanding by third parties and all that, there's a lot of stress for doctors and nurses in the hospitals these days. So but they have to spend time to take care of themselves and also to build this inner resilience that requires time and energy, and they have to reverse what they were doing to cause the stress. One of them is this distraction thrown at us continuously. They are planned distractions so that we will pay attention to them. Multitasking. I want so many people so many times. Don't multitask. Do one task at a time. That's as simple, but then we are used to doing so many things at the same time, which is really taking over the attention span too. You know? There was one Instagram influencer. She has a lot of followers, and we became friends on Clubhouse. Then she told me, my mind never stops. It goes all the time. She prepares a lot of content, lot of helpful tips on Instagram, how to use. That's why she's so popular. So she does these rooms all the time. So her mind continuously goes. And then asked her, what do you do? How do you do? And all. She said she will do multitasking of three or four things at a all day. I told her, don't do that. Do one task at a time, you know. And she came back and told me, yeah, that really worked for me because I was able to focus and finish more work this way. And also, I didn't feel tired. See, what happens in multitasking is you are paying attention to one task, and then half your attention goes to the next one. Another half of it will be distributed among several things, thinking that I can handle it. Don't do that. Pay attention to only one task at a time and see what happens. I can have a good experience of this for myself because I never do three or four, not even two things together. You know, I will do only at any given moment. If you take it, I will do only one. With my patients, only one patient. With my EMR, I only open one patient. On other charts, I don't. You know, and then I complete patients before all other doctors because that is the focus we need, you know. And what it does is the focus really determines your neuronal path. So when you focus, you are reinforcing the work task again and again, and then next time you do the work, it will get done faster. See, mind or the brain can only take a few bits of information at any given time. So we task it by giving more bits of information. Don't do that. Just to, that's why if you are watching a movie, watch it completely, you know, with all attention. And then if you are eating food, don't talk and eat. Eat in silence, you know, eat calmly, quietly, and enjoying the food. Yeah, lots of people have their luncheon meetings. You know, I also go to those meetings because they call me. I go there, and then usually I don't touch the plate. That's I want to focus on what's going on, what they're talking, and all that. So everybody will be eating and talking, but I'm the only one who don't eat and then talk. But if the meeting is over, then I may eat, or if I'm not hungry, I don't eat. So that kind of thing you got to exercise your control on that. So one task every day at a time, you know, or whatever you do, pay attention and try that and feed me after that. How do you feel about that? Okay.
So it's something that I also learned from my international chef. But they also said the same thing. But in the working environment, what they are saying is that love what you do and concentrate what you are doing. So
Yeah.
the same advice you also given to me. So
Hmm.
good to hear from you.
Yeah, it's a question of understanding neuroscience, understanding how our brain works from the ancient point of view. Uh, Ancients had a tremendous attention, tremendous focus, mainly because they had the leisurely lifestyle. Actually, they created it. They kind of lived it. So my argument is, even though you are living in the modern times, you can focus like, okay, what's important for me? And focus on those things first. Okay, first things first.
So
Okay.
it's what I'm also doing every day in my whole life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
another thing is
Now
that
wait, Nach, wait, let me finish my thought. Okay. So what you do is you always first categorize what is important in my life, my relationships, my job, my committed, whatever that comes, right? Suppose you're a student, you want to study and all. Once you have determined what is first, what is next, only focus on the first. Now, in the day, if you could start the day, first start with what are my priorities, what are the things I have to do. Because if I don't do them, my career or whatever important is affected, my relationships or what my money, whatever, right? Then first do those things. You know, whatever you need to do, whether you feel like it or whether you have it or not, start doing it, then you will get the energy. Once the important things are done, then do other things that will be not that important, but it can be done slowly. So that's a very important way to approach the day. This is an ancient principle called Shreyas versus Preyas. Shreyas means what is good for us in the long run. Okay. Preyas means here now gratification, self gratification, instant gratification. Culture is going more towards the instant gratification. Delay that. That's what I teach my staff and everybody in the clinic and hospital. Don't come and take a coffee break right away. I see a lot of people do that. But I say first to finish your rounds, finish the things that are important for the patients. And then when you go and take a break, you don't feel guilty. And also you feel like I have done some work, I can take a break. Then the work was more meaningful. Otherwise, you may feel like, oh, I should have done that. I neglected. And you may feel guilty within too. So you don't need all that. So I always go, we have a morning huddle, for example. And in the morning huddle, we gather together and say, who is coming today? What kind of patient? What does he need? Does he need a stress testing? Then we need to make the stress lab ready. Does he need a, functional respiratory function test? Then we need to respiratory lab ready. Like that, we kind of figure out what is needed for that initial rush of the patients. But that is done when they come, we are already ready, and then things go much smoother that way. Sometimes emergencies happen. We know how to handle them. But generally, how do you handle the mundane routine day? That makes a lot of difference for your energy conservation, and also things go smoothly and you don't have agitation within you, fear within you, and all those emotions cause a lot of stress hormones, right? And you don't want to do that. In the modern life, it's so easy to get into that kind of thing. So, one important principle I kind of want my physician nurses to really learn is don't be reactive so easily. Okay, only respond to the task without the emotional anxiety, depression, and all that. That way, you will be able to do the stuff better, but at the same time, you are not spent internally. That's what happens. Even you do something very nicely, you are so fearful, so anxious of what's going to happen or not. Then that negativity drains you. So don't be reactive. Okay, put things first things first, and do the prayers things first, and then don't be reactive. If you have a day like this, you will feel a whole lot better after the day is spent. Okay. So, but this mental illness is increasing because people are not paying attention to the smaller things, how they, first of all, train themselves to be more resilient, and also how they are dragged into too much doing, but very little being. So that's an example of what happened during the COVID too. See what happened in the COVID. First, they said you cannot come to the office, then you have to stay home and work. So people stayed for months. And then during the months, they discovered, hey, I'm doing less work. Maybe money is not coming that way, but I'm able to do the stuff that I wanted to do for a long time. I wanted to spend my time with my kids or with my family. I want to do some hobby that I have. So what is meaningful and purposeful for me, I'm able to do instead of just going for a buck and going and working with somebody who don't give me that freedom at all. And then we saw a very phenomena in the United States after the COVID is done. You know, many people quit their job by themselves because they found I am losing precious life away just for the few dollars I'm going and working there. They don't really care about my meaningfulness, my purpose, and all that. So that's why I'm better off not to go and work there, stay at home and find something on the remote and then do the things that I want to. I was doing that for 10, 15 years probably like that because I have my own practice. I can dictate what I want and I kind of slow down a little bit and they will do all of that. So that is kind of was not available to a lot of people, I understand. But within what you have, find out what is important for me, what is purposeful for me, what is that I really want to do, and also pay attention to, am I giving enough attention to my self care, to my being, to my inner nature? And that is very much in the ancient wisdom, which I kind of adopt that and I talk about it all the time. I live in America. I'm a modern physician, but I live like a yogi. If you can understand that, that means I don't let things bother me. I'm in silence most of the time. I eat vegetables and fruits, and I love nature, and I'm in the present. All these things we can easily do, right? We can easily do that. So if you can understand that, then living like a yogi means not clutching to things. Let them go easily. So something happens in the work and somebody has argumentative fighting is all that, then we listen to him, we let him go, and afterwards dismiss from the mind if it's not important. That kind of living in the present, living with the nature, and then living for what is important for you, what is meaningful for you, that makes a lot of difference. Okay. Anybody on the Noom app have any questions? I don't mean to neglect you. So,
What you said is totally right. Something that I noticed from you that
hmm.
you mentioned a very good point that I totally agree with that was that you take.
I can't hear you well, Nash. Nach, I can't hear you well.
So you can hear me?
Yeah, bring your microphone close to you.
Wait.
Hmm.
I'm using the Bluetooth one.
No, that's why I can't hear you. From the beginning, it was like that. Bluetooth, take it off. Then we may hear better.
So you can hear me now?
Yeah, there's a lot of wind there, so much disturbance.
Wind? No, there's no any wind.
But it feels like wind is blowing.
Wind is blowing.
Yeah, it feels like that.
So how about now? I mean, I'm at home
I
actually.
can hear you better now, but the wind thing, something is going on there.
The wind is there.
Maybe the connection is like that, So anyway, I
So
can hear you
now,
better. Go ahead, say what you have to say now.
no, actually, what I'm about to say is that in my mind there is the one thing what the Buddha taught, or there's the one quote. Okay, but what he's saying is that you become the way you think about. So that also always on my mind.
Mm.
So that's why I never think about any worst things in my life.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
he says, you think what you become. Yeah, yes, you think. What do you think you become?
Mm.
So I think it's what the one quote from the Buddha.
Yeah,
So
but
it means we have
Buddha,
to.
Buddha also
Yeah, Buddha.
said, Buddha said, you see, how you react is all that matters because something comes from outside, you cannot help about it. That's like a first arrow. But then how you react is like a secondary you're putting yourself into. So don't react like that, but manage the reactions. That's part of that is whatever you are thinking you probably manifest and you will get it too. That's why don't think negatively, be positive, be really nurturing to yourself, and encouraging yourself, and then letting go things. Don't have hold on to. They talked about shunyata. That means everything is empty. So let go things. Don't hold on to it because they are all anitya. That means temporary. So don't hold on to things so clutching way, grasping way. That's very difficult for the modern people because they want to catch properties, relationship, all that. And that is not the life. Things change all the time, right? So if you can see the practicality, then if we'll try to, one of the students had some problem. She tells me that. Then I tell her, are you making it much worse by clutching to it? And usually that's the case. And then they let it go. I cannot talk to their personal things here, but usually when they tell me, I see that they're is already over. It is something they cannot change. Then, but then they weep about it, they hope about it, and then they really make themselves more miserable. But sooner they realize this is not going to be happening, like health or relationship, whatever, then they recover much faster. So your mind, like Nach was saying, whatever you think you become. That means you actually your intention, everything goes towards it. The couple of days ago, Nach, I did a talk on Bruce Lee, how he wanted to achieve some things. I wrote it down, and he achieved every single one of them in 2 years' time. You know, he wanted money, he wanted superstar status, he wanted be famous around the world. All those things happened to him because he has this mental strength. See, I talked a lot about that mental strength, how you can enhance that and all that. By not being in the thoughts, but by understanding the thoughts and ending the thoughts, you will have a lot of resilience. Okay. All right. So what is the time now? Yeah, 6:40. So I can stay
For
for a
me,
few minutes.
it's early morning,
Yeah, yeah.
41 past 4 a.m.
Okay, okay. 2 hours. Okay. But we are evening 6:41. I can stay till 7 o'clock. So that's why I have another engagement at 7 o'clock. So
Okay, doctor, thank you so much for your kind advice, actually. So I'm going to note it on my book.
sure, sure. So it's a every day I come here 6 to 7 Central Time, and then we have been talking about it. But in the mornings, my mornings, that will be your nights, Nach, probably. My mornings, I'm doing this series called Proactive Wellness. There were 15 topics, and now I'm at the 10th topic. I was addressing. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the another one, but today we talked about wellness oriented health systems, how we can strive to get them, what's the wisdom about that. how much money you can save, how much health and quality of life you can save by turning our hospitals, our clinics, everything is wellness oriented. Then the approach will be more different, than just allowing these things to go on. A process of food, carbonated drinks, sedentary activity, and then this information overload, cognitive problems. All these are kind of contributed by so many societal forces too. And as like, so you don't have to really allow them to affect your life. So that's what I was talking about. Listen to them, Nach. I don't know you know about it or not. They're on the noon vibe, the morning time, 7 to 7:30. I'm there, every day. So,
Okay.
hmm. Nazli, have any questions? Usually, Nazli has some questions for me. We were talking about mental illness, Nazli. I think you should listen back to the entire tape. You will like it, probably. I was talking about how the incidence is growing, how officials are reporting this loneliness epidemic, suicidal rates, and how the social media information age is contributing to it, and how we can use it. But at the same, I use AI, I use the computers, and actually, I'm the one earliest adopter of any new iPhone and all that. I get them, but I use them though. I use them, then I don't let them influence me. I can throw it away and stay there for half a day without touching them. But I use that to efficiently do my work, and then afterwards they are not holding me. That's kind of thing I was teaching people to use it, but don't be slave to the phone. That's very difficult for the kids though to do that. Okay, Dudley Johnson, K.
She feels injustice emotionally.
Hmm. So I'm very concerned about the illness of the mentally people are doing, because I was born in India but brought up in a completely Western lifestyle, But we were only at the time you got to be student means 24 hours you're a student. Okay, they said if you don't study, if you don't learn new things, the food is waste for you. So we were encouraged. We were kind of given a lot of incentives to study. Then the medical seat was very competitive. We have some 45,000 people competing for 150 seats in our college. And I was living in the same town with our own house and all that. So we don't have to really spend much money to go out and study, right? So luckily, me and my sister both have got into the medical school. And that was like a big achievement at the time. And then nobody taught me about yoga, Ayurveda, or the ancient wisdom at the time. So once in a week, my physical educated teacher, he used to make us do some asanas, but he didn't say anything about the philosophical aspect of it. And then after my medicine is done, I came to this country, and then I took up yoga as I was stressed because of the new thing and job pressures and all. And then I got stuck with it and then began to study about it. And then that went deeper and deeper. Then I have to study about the human being itself and the deeper questions. And I found out the ancient had a bigger exploration of the existential issues we have, like what is life, what is death, what happens after death, where are we going to go, what is knowledge, how do you lots of things they talked about are pretty profound. The biggest thing is they said we are conscious human beings. That means our consciousness, that is being aware, is the first thing. And then in that awareness we are really recognizing the thoughts, feelings as they're happening. But the problem is we identify with the thoughts and forget about the awareness. So for me was like understand that, and then really realize that is so. We are aware first, and thoughts happen to us. That means thoughts are happening outside of me. That changed everything. Then I was able to watch the thoughts, they slowed down. I was able to you see they are negative, I can change them to positivity. So like you are saying, if you think something positive that will happen, that's the same thing. Anything negative, you turn them into positives. It's something around it, this is in yoga practice called pratipaksha bhavana. Pratipaksha means opposite. If you are feeling negative, you want to think about something positive about it, and that whole thing turns topsy-turvy. The cognitive rethinking process in modern medicine also is there. But then what they talked about was thought is not everything. Thought is our instrument, use it. But get rid of the thought. That's why these hurts, these things that we have, they are all thought products. But the thought makes them worse if you go on thinking about it. On the other hand, if you watch them and then change them, and then really don't clutch with the thought. That's where I'm yogi, because I don't clutch anything. I just let it go. So you're always in the present. You're always with the beginner's mind, and then in the beginner's mind is empty and fresh and lot of energy, right? So when you do things like that, a lot of things will go to. But then modern civilization built around the thought as though thoughts are us. That's the mistake we made. So that's why mental illness also getting worse, because something thought produced, you are asking the thought to solve it. See, that's why it's not getting better with so much of psychiatry, psychology, and all that. The medications, on the other hand, they have long-term side effects and interactions. There are certain psychiatric illnesses like organic psychosis, schizophrenia. There's a number of conditions like that are very, very difficult to treat unless we have the medications and treatments of ECT and all that. But thought induced, that means you're overthinking or you're thinking negatively, and you're not able to think positively. Like a Bruce Lee, that's what I told you. He was very positive and he was very strong, because when he was hurt with a back injury and he was lying down for 6 months, he read Krishnamurti and really found what's called ending of thought. He overcame his own um, mind, and the mind is nothing but the conglomeration of thought. So anything negative comes from within him, he doesn't have it, because he has overcome that kind of mechanism, and he was ended up with that emotional content, emotional not thinking a lot about something, but then being applying all his talents to focus. So he was able to work very hard, and he would not listen to the mind saying, "Oh, is this enough? Take it easy." That is what happens to a lot of people. They make a resolution to lose weight, for example, and then when the real food comes, when they're hungry, they eat a lot, and then again they gain something, and so they are basically yielding to the mind's demands through the taste. So once you understand mind is my tool, you better understand how to use it effectively. Otherwise, it will rule you. So make it a slave, use it a nice like a slave, but don't listen to it as a master. That's the mistake we do, I think. So everything transforms once you are in control of your body, control of your mind, then things become very easy. All right, I think it's coming close to the 7 now. Anybody has questions? I have a few minutes to stop and ask questions. You can come up and ask me. Otherwise, I'll be leaving in a couple of minutes. Come and check out my proactive wellness in the morning. Then that will be on the Noom vibe. That's a name change for the old wisdom app. Sometimes I come on the other channels too. Like today, I'm on the SteamYard, YouTube, uh, Facebook, and also LinkedIn. They are there. I'm on the Clubhouse, and I'm also on the Noom vibe. Some people ask me, no, Vibe, you come and do it only exclusively, but then I'm used to this. Some people who are watching me, they call me and ask me what happened, why are not there. So I kind of restarted the streaming on all channels like this. 5 channels, I do the same thing. That's easy for people to see. Okay. All right. Hope you had a good informational session today, and I'll see you back tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock Central Time. Okay. Bye, everybody. Bye, Nazli.